could introduce yourself too.
I'm Mary Elizabeth. I'm part of the CEFS business and events team, and I'm just an event assistant, and I'm a student at NC State as well.
Thank you. Thanks to Chris and Mary Elizabeth. So we're going to start on time. Welcome to the workshop tonight, talking about financials and the market for specialty veggies. The session is recorded. So if you want to go back to review the contents, the video, the sound, the transcript will be available for you to review. My name is Kathleen Liang. Many of you had seen me or had stopped by Small Farm Unit to visit before. I am here with the North Carolina A&T, and I am in my office in Greensboro, North Carolina. I want to acknowledge our funding agencies, including USDA, North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, National Science Foundation, and the Kellogg Foundation. Now let's warm up a little bit while people are still signing in. How are we all doing tonight? If you could type a few keywords in the chat box, just practice using the chat box or whatever you like to do. I have two questions for you to respond. First of all, did the COVID influence your operation as a farmer or a farm service provider? And how and what happened? So I'll give you about a minute to type in the answers, and then while other people are settling in into. And Chris, could you just help me to look at the answers in the chat box and then maybe have a quick overview? Give me some answers, what people typed in there, please, Chris?
Mm-hmm. So Heather says they kind of changed to more agritourism format, working with DHHS.
That's a Department of Health and something. Yeah,
Health and Human Services, yeah.
Yes, yeah, good, thank you. Other answers?
Very little change, Millard says.
Okay. Any other responses?
Let's see. Jim says a little scare that restaurants would not be open for buying.
That's so true. A little bit more time to welcome the new people just joined us. We are just reflecting on this question, how are we all doing at this point in time? The topic of today's workshop focus on financials in the market of new vegetables in North Carolina. Before I do any information, I would like to get a sense about where everybody is and how did the COVID influence everybody's scenario. If you had to change anything, what happened, or if everything is okay, you're able to write it out. So give me a little bit of sense about where you are and what happened.
Carla says we currently do not grow veggies for anyone other than our farm members.
Any other responses, Chris?
That's all right now.
That's all? Okay. And we will leave this question out here with everybody to think about it, because today's information relates to how you might be able to change some scenarios and try some new things and create new opportunities. All right. If you have any questions, just put the questions in the chat box and Chris will monitor it from time to time. Chris, is absolutely okay to stop me after each slide or after each session. I will be happy to answer questions as we move along. Is that okay with you, Chris? Thank you. All right, move on. So today's agenda, the session is recorded and we will share the link after we compile the recording, transcript, everything here. Everybody registered will receive this information. There are a couple of things I want to share tonight. The first thing is to show you the data we have collected through our specialty fruit and vegetable production in 2021 at the small farm unit in Goldsboro. I will talk about small farm unit in Goldsboro in a minute. And then second thing is how we use our data to explain some of the key financial indicators that will be relevant to farmers. Today's workshop focus on farmers or farm service providers like agents, anybody work with farmers closely. If you're a home gardener or if you're not doing commercial sales, you're absolutely welcome to stay and then learn some of the key points, just in case one day you want to be a commercial farmer. But the purpose to learn the financial key indicators are twofold. One is my goal is to turn a farmer into a farm entrepreneur. I actually have some good frames here. I'm going to call on you to give us some examples if you're willing to. Because I've worked with several farmers over the years, and these are farm entrepreneurs. You will see the difference. But the second thing is we want to use a financial indicator to make decisions on investment and the resource allocation so we don't waste any resource. You use your every single penny to the best capacity. And the last thing we're going to talk about is how we can work with a specialty fruit and vegetable markets, where they are, how to work with them, that sort of thing. I'll give you some examples too. All right. And Chris, I appreciate you just continue monitoring the chat box. This is a quick overview about small farm unit. It's in Goldsboro. It's one of the 5 research units at the Cherry Research Farm. Some of you know that Old Cherry Hospital, that's where the Cherry Research Station is. And the small farm unit is one of the 5 research units. I have a full-time manager, Willard. He lives and works in Goldsboro. I see Willard signed in. Willard, would you like to take a few seconds to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. So my name's Willard Humphreys, and I'm, as Dr. Liang said, the small farm unit manager. So I'm in charge of the 30 acres that we run research there, and we do demonstrations as well for farmers to help show them how to use equipment, how we're running our crops in our fields, and a little bit about the farm. It's 30 acres. Half of it is certified organic, and the other half is not certified, but we do all of our planting and growing in an organic method. This poster tells you a little bit about what we've been growing there. And then over the past couple of years, we've been able to do a lot with cover crops as well, which this doesn't touch a lot on. But it's a great little farm, and if you have the opportunity to come, please come down.
After we open for the visit, right now the farm is closed due to COVID restrictions. So we will not be able to host any workshop or offer any tours at this point. We just have to work with the NCDA. But in 2021, this shows you our annual crops that we had in 2021. And we also have perennial crops year-round at the farm. And our operation, I'm going to show you more details following 3 principles. Willard, what are those 3 principles?
Cheap, simple, and easy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. After 2 years, finally you remember. But our goal is to make sure our operation and our demonstration follows exactly any small farmers will do. We don't have fancy stuff. We certainly don't have any fancy equipment stuff. You will see those things. We are farmers. That's it. Willard and I, And then sometimes we get other people to help us, sometimes we don't. So that's just how things going to be. All right, as you can see, we harvested over 5,300 pounds. We actually harvested over 5,500 pounds. Wheeler was persistent. He was not going to let go of those carrots and daikon radish in the field. He said, Dr. Liang, I'm going to grab every single thing. So he did. Wheeler insisted to harvest everything until December, right? Am I right, Wheeler? You finished the last harvest in December?
Yeah, I was harvesting on Christmas Eve, the 24th.
Yes, and that's Wheeler. So we counted every single ounce of our production. You will see the total amount in a minute. All right, so that's the small farm unit situation. We have totally 5 high tunnels, 3 large ones, 30 by 100, and 2 smaller ones, 10 by 30. And then we have a greenhouse, decent size greenhouse to do seeding and the transplanting and those sort of things. We do not grow any vegetables in the greenhouse for the commercial scale. Okay. This is the map to show you the area. If you drive in or walk into the door, imagine there's a door. This is the way you can see we don't have a door. And there is a problem, we don't have a door, I'll tell you. So the lower field is lower than the News River division. We have a little News River stuff going on over there. So the lower field gets flooded just about every time we have a strong water, tornado, hurricane, those kind of things. The upper field is the certified organic part. The lower field is not certified organic, but we practice organic throughout the whole small farm unit operation. Our small farm unit has a strategic location justification. Look at the star and the map on the right-hand side. I want to bring this to your attention. And I want to acknowledge our farmers' dedication to support our local food systems. Because you look at all the food insecurity distribution, North Carolina in the corner where the farm is our farm is surrounded by some of the most severe food insecure counties in North Carolina. And we're also very close to the whole southern region where a whole lot more counties fighting food insecurity issues for all people. And then the lower map shows you the poverty level, which is also very clear and very severe in the southeast corner where our research station is. So this farm really means a lot to us altogether. The farm belongs to NCDA. It's a government property. A&T and the NC State, we joined the effort to design research project over here. This is specialty fruit vegetable project focused on a long-term trial. We grow everything that has not been established in North Carolina. Our mission is to grow them, see if we can grow them successfully, then we will push it out to farmers. Now think about what I just said. If I can grow it successfully, then all farmers should be able to grow them successfully. My background is agriculture economics. I have no degree in horticulture, soil science, ag engineer. You know, some of you have even better experience than I am. So NCDA said, Doc, you go ahead. Whatever you can grow, if you can grow this successfully, we have to push out to farmers. I appreciate NCDA trusted me as an economist. And I'm going to show you, I've been here about 6 years now. We are super successful in growing specialty vegetables. This gives you a layout about the sites and the plots we use. The plot with the star is the plots we used in 2021. I double checked with Wheeler. Now, if I mark the wrong thing, Wheeler, don't say anything, okay? So the star where we had in the upper field, certified organic, we used the greenhouse, the 2 small high tunnels you can see over here. And UA1, the smaller plot, is about 1/8 of the acre, right, Wheeler? 1/8 an acre. U2 and all these other U3, U4, these are all about 1/2 an acre. And we have cover crop, like Wheeler said, year-round rotation to maintain the soil fertility and to work with the water, soil, nutrient balance. And the cover crop is the heart and the soul of our success. And then we also have the blueberry, the perennial there. We have the blackberry perennial there. So we only use about a 1/2 acre, a little bit more than a 1/2 acre in the upper field. We use larger plots combined, close to an acre, not quite an acre, you know, that sort of thing. Wheeler is the one driving the tractor going through that. So it's about combined an acre. And then asparagus in the back of that lower field. And we use plastic mulch, open field, drip irrigation. We don't do any spray chemical, no nothing. We use organic fertilizer a little bit at a time, nitrogen, potassium, and integrated pest management. That includes vegetable trap for pests, or you know, that sort of thing. We will have other topics to talk about, though, all these detailed stuff throughout the year. Of course, we have to deal with challenges, you know, pest invasion. We do have beehives, pollinations, our own vegetables, solar fencing, and so on and so forth. Okay. So pretty clear, pretty simple, small scale operation, just like any small farm. Chris, any questions in the chat box for me at this point?
Nothing right now.
All right, thank you. This is the detailed 2021 organic seeds. I'm going to leave this panel up so for you to look at it, you know, especially Miller. The first thing I said, Miller, what are you doing here tonight? He said, I want to see what's new. So Miller, this is something new that we don't ever grow the same vegetables twice. I push the boundary of production. Every year we try new vegetables. So this is the whole list that we have produced in 2021. Even though we are challenged with the COVID, just like everybody else, we push it through the production. And I have to acknowledge Willard's effort. I hired Willard in 2020 as a full-time manager. Am I right, Willard, 2020? April 1st, April 6th, or something like that?
Yes, April 6, 2021.
That's right.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, right after the close down, the shutdown for the whole state, and Willard had to do Zoom training. And I said, this is going to be crazy. How do you become a good farm manager doing Zoom training? And Willard said, I got to get to the farm. I got to get to the farm. So we had to wait. Willard came to the farm in June 2020 and had stayed since. He and I and the other technicians, interns, everybody, we worked through the COVID. So we were able to maintain our operation and our trial. We did not have any interruption. Do you have any questions for me about these seeds? You see where we order them from, primarily from Johnny's Seed and High Mowing. I think Johnny's Seeds is in Maine. Willard, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Johnny's Seeds is in Maine. High Mowing is in Vermont. I know that for sure. I used to work in Vermont. I lived in Vermont for 18 years. But the Johnny's Seeds and the High Mowing are two very reputable companies. We are very happy with the germination quality. I can tell you this, we don't use up all the seeds. And so Willard said, what are we going to do with all the old seeds? I said, we grow them. As a matter of fact, many of the old seeds, 2-year-old, they still have pretty decent germination rate. Am I right, Willard?
That's correct.
Yeah, the pak choy we grew this fall was from the seed 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2018. And now I'm still growing them and they were fine. So good companies. All right. Now I have to make a disclosure. I'm not advocating for anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm not being paid for anybody to say anything today. I'm just telling you the truth where I buy these things from. Okay. And then we have non-organic seeds. These non-organic seeds are primarily Asian specialty vegetables. I was born and raised in Taiwan, and I came to this country when I was 21 in 1988. I think I'm old enough to be many of you grandma. I'm 57 years old. I'm approaching 60, very happy. So I miss my hometown vegetable. And then I came here in North Carolina. I noticed, wow, a lot of people are buying these vegetables, but they were all from South America or New York. I said, why are we buying vegetables from other states? we can grow these things. So I buy these seeds from Asian grocery stores. They're large grocery stores selling Asian vegetable seeds or African vegetable seeds, European vegetable seeds. You can definitely buy these seeds from those grocery stores. Johnny Seeds and High Mowing sells some of them with a limited amount. These are non-or certified organic, so I can grow them in the lower field.
Hey,
Any
Kathleen, we have a question.
Yes.
From Kat Burns. What methods do you use to store your seeds over the years?
Oh, good question. We have a cooler. Our walk-in cooler. Willer, you want to say a few words about our walk-in cooler? That's about what, 200 years old?
It's not that old. We have a walk-in cooler that has it essentially holds two large shelving units on the left and the right, and we utilize Rubbermaid plastic bins mainly for organization, but it does keep any extra moisture out, and the seeds will hold well and they germinate well if you end up taking them out and let them warm up to the outdoor temperature before planting. But we just store them essentially in a Rubbermaid bin in our cooler until we're ready to plant.
That's it. Nothing really fancy. Another question?
And
Chris?
then what temperature is the fridge?
It usually sits right around like 38.
Mm-hmm. It's somewhere around 35, 38. And then if the door is shut, we get a good storage. Sometimes Willer walking in there, he said, Dr. Liang, the door was propped up. Why would it was not anybody prop up the door. It was just the door won't shut very closely. I told you it's an old cooler. And hopefully this year we can pump it up a little bit. All right.
Using just a typical food fridge, well, it's the same thing. You store it in your fridge.
Yeah. Any other question, Chris?
That's all for now.
Great question. So you see, we're simple operation, nothing fancy, I told you. And then this is a list of the large equipments we have. Some are antique. I call them antique. The first time I walk onto that farm, I look at those things, I said, oh, I have seen that in Smithsonian Museum. I can't believe we still have them, but they work really fine. You know, we don't have any problems about that. We did buy a brand new John Deere tractor. And then we did buy a brand new tiller, and then we got some old tillers sitting there. So those are all estimated values about what we have. We also bought a new zero-turn mower. That was the first thing I bought because 30 acres, I mean, that's a hell lot of land to mow. Thanks to NCDA, they come in from time to time to help us with bush hog. And then they shared a smaller bush hog with us. So Willer was able to haul it with our tractor. But that, you know, after we had that zero-turn mower, it helped a little bit, but it's still, we can't just run that mower day and night. Willer had to mow it so often. Sometimes Wheeler asks me, Dr. Liang, what's my priority, mowing or weeding? Well, I say, you pick one. So that's mowing or weeding. That's our primary job. You know, the vegetable can grow by itself really well. We don't have a BCS, so don't ask me, Dr. Liang, why don't you buy a BCS? We don't have money to buy a BCS, but we actually found an old BCS that NCDA said that we may be able to use it. So we're just.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Any tips or support on installing a vegetable tunnel?
You mean high tunnel? Is this about?
I'm not sure.
tunnel?
I think it is about high tunnels. I
Okay,
would
Wheeler.
suggest,
Yeah,
Oh,
go
yes.
ahead, Wheeler. Go ahead, yeah.
I would suggest reaching out to your local extension agent and asking about Dr. Gu's high tunnel research that he just published. He has a book that's, I wish I had it in front of me. It's at the farm. It's about 35 to 40 pages, all about high tunnel vegetable growing, and it includes how to set it up and different types of high tunnels. So your local extension agent will be able to get that for you, and that's probably the best resource, especially for North Carolina.
Mhm. And don't forget about your local NRCS office. They provide support for the hardware, the infrastructure of the high tunnel. With some financial support, you might be able to do that, but all of this information is available through the extension office. Any other questions?
Dr. Liang, do you know if that booklet is in a digital format or if it's only a printed?
I think it's
Copy.
available online. I can check with Dr. Gu.
Okay.
And Dr. Gu will do a training in March. He always offers a workshop about high tunnel production during the small farm week. So if you are interested, I will follow up with that information. Some of you already know, A&T always offers a small farm week, whole training, whole kind of celebration kind of thing. Any more questions, Chris?
That's all for now.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mm.
Do you find the tiller chops the soil too fine?
Wheeler?
We mainly use our tiller in our operation for inter-row weeding. So it's really easy for us to quickly go through the rows, and I don't set the depth very low. So it's only about an inch into the ground, and it'll till through the weeds for us pretty quick.
So you look at the larger equipments, and this is the detailed tools and the other smaller pieces we have. These are the things we do depreciate because these things last more than 3 years. Well, a bucket lasted more than 3 years. Wheel hoe lasts more than 3 years. So I want to show you how much detail the records we keep for this farm. Because the main purpose I mentioned earlier is to show small farmers how to be profitable by growing these specialty fruit and vegetables. The best way to show you how it would be profitable is to have a very detailed record keeping system. As an economist, that's my specialty area. So I kept documents since I started operating in Goldsboro. And this is a 2021 summary. You might see a few things repeating. That's because we bought them in different times. So I just want to show you, we don't have a fancy computers program and all that. This is not in Excel. As you can see, this is in Excel. It's just a simple Excel table. All right, we keep everything in the Excel file. And now I will offer different training to go through the detailed record keeping stuff. And I will get to this point later. All right. Any question, Chris?
Nope, not right now.
Okay. Yeah, because I can see the number in chat, but I don't know what people put in there. So thank you. Now we talked about equipment and tools, and this is our monthly expenses. And these numbers are pretty accurate. Of course, it depends. Some years are warmer, some years are cooler. So this weekend, we're projecting ice and the snow. Nobody knows what's going on anymore. But at least this gives you an idea how much we spend monthly based on what the NCDA told me, Dr. Liang, this is about how much we spend for the small farm unit part. Electricity, we pay for the cooler, some of the lights over there, and then we have a pump, right? We will pump water, that sort of thing. That's just about all we have. We use propane gas to heat the greenhouse. We do not put any heating cooling in the high tunnel. And Wheeler calls in to get some refill, and that's just for the winter time. So I estimated the $500. The tank is what, 250 gallons? Am I right? Is it 250 gallons, Willard?
500.
500. Okay, so it's bigger than the home propane tank. And then Wheeler drives a state truck, so he goes to the main farm station to get a gas from time to time. We need gas for the tractor, for the tiller, for the mower, that sort of thing. And then water really depends. Last year, NCDA told me, hey, Doc, you're using too much water. Now, I know we're recording this, and this is the truth. What happened was the pump was not working very well from time to time. And I didn't realize, sometimes the water was not flowing right. So water is really the largest variation. The upper field water hook up to the CT system, the lower field water hook up to the well, underground stuff. So that's hard to say. We do have to pay for a porta potty because we have people working there. I think that's still $190 a month. And then general supplies, office supplies, small stuff. Whether it's I need the trash bags, toilet towels, and all these things for people. So those are the kind of things. Small tools break down. So from time to time, we replace the tools. Equipment maintenance. Wheeler is a really handy person. And he tells me, Doctor, I got to buy oil, I have to buy a filter, I have to buy a belt or whatever, all this stuff. So he worked with the NCDA to do those things. Now here comes labor. Most of the farmers don't budget their labor. I'm going to tell you, I do budget the labor. Wheeler is a full-time manager working under cooperative extension. So he was hired by cooperative extension as a full-time manager. I'm not going to say how much we pay him. I can tell you, I definitely compensate him fairly. And you can disagree, Wheeler, you're here. And then we have full-time technician. When I get grants, I pay full-time technician. Usually full-time technicians, $30,000, $40,000 up to $45,000, depending on their qualification. Part-time technician, grad students, undergrad students, interns, apprentices, all this stuff. Part-time rate is from $12 all the way up to $18 an hour, depending on their qualification again and the experience. I do pay people very well. To me, people is the best asset. I can be cheap, simple, easy on everything else, but I cannot be cheap on my labor. If I don't compensate people, nobody wants to work in Goldsboro. So that's just something for you to keep in mind. Chris, I see the number going up in chat box. Some questions there?
Yeah, so a couple part question from Carla. Your labor costs look low. Do you hire contract or as employee? And then second part.
Oh, just a second. What was the first part?
Labor costs look low.
My labor costs look low. How do you say this is low? $18 an hour is low. I needed some clarification there. That's just for part-time.
I don't know.
Okay.
So labor costs
what's
look
the
low. Do
second
you
part?
hire on contract or as employee? And then second part to the question. So where are you showing workers' comp and withholding?
Good. The workers' comp is the only person I'm paying workers' comp is Wheeler. because he's the only full-time manager with A&T. So he's on salary, pay the benefit, pay the leave, everything. Okay, so he's a staff. The technician, part-time technician, we pay Social Security. We don't cover workers' comp. Okay, and the part-time students, interns, apprentices do not get a benefit at all. So the only person getting the benefit is Willard. I don't have the
Yep.
total number here because it really depends, you know, it depends on how many hours they work with and how long they work with. The part-time people can only work with me 11 months. I cannot hire them for 12 months. And we don't have 12-month operation anyway.
We
And
have another question.
They're on contract. Yeah, let me finish this.
Sure.
The part-time people are on contract. What's the next question?
Sure. Does North Carolina allow rainwater capture tanks? I am new to North Carolina laws, so have a lot of research to do.
Okay, that part, I don't have that answer. And your extension office people would know better than that.
I believe the answer is yes, but it'd be safest to contact your extension office to make sure your county or your specific city doesn't have any laws against capturing rainwater.
Miller, you unmute yourself. Do you know the answer? Do you use rainwater?
No, yes, you can use rainwater, pond water, any of the waters, but you gotta have documentation that you sample it often. And the reason I don't do none of that, you're taking a chance. If you get a bad result, he's gonna make you do a recall on everything all the way back to the good results. And a lot of times all that produce is gone. So you really could set a nightmare for yourself. See what I'm
And
saying? If you're going for Harmony Gap or, you know, good agriculture practice audits, once you get a bad result, you got to recall all that produce that was produced to all the way back to a good result. So water testing is the best thing. You can do it, but he said a pond's got to be done like 3 years. So I don't do that. I do nothing but closed well.
Thanks, Miller. Any other questions? No? Okay, I'll move on. Chris, if you see more questions, just let me know. Now, you saw our operating equipment, tools, expense, that kind of thing. Oh, the seed. Nobody asked me how much I pay for seeds every year. I pay about $1,000 to $1,500, depends. You know, organic seeds certified organic seeds are expensive. They're not cheap. So you do have to budget that. This is the variations and the different varieties we grow in 2021 through 3 seasons, spring, summer, and the fall. Our operation is really simple. I'm going to go to Goldsboro next week to start setting up the transplant seeding for the spring season. And we have a spring plot already identified, high tunnel got ready, and so on and so forth. So our spring transplants usually get into the field after the frost in March. And I remember in 2021, we were able to do this in the middle of March. I will see how soon I can get them in the ground this year. Every year is a little bit different. But our strategy is this: we do not clear cut the vegetables. And I'm going to show you, because a lot of vegetables can have multiple harvests. So we stretch out their production season as long as I can to improve the productivity, and also to make sure the vegetables don't get stressed too much and they are available and delicious throughout the season in any shape, any form. Willard had seen some really interesting vegetables in our operation. Willard said, Kathleen, are you actually eating that? I said, yes. So you will see some pictures that some of the vegetables we harvest is very unconventional. But I appreciate everybody work with me because I want to make sure we do not clear cut vegetables, get multiple harvests to get a better price as we can meet the market demand. So our spring plot will continue into summer for as long as the vegetables will go. And then the summer plot will go into the fall for as long as the vegetables will go. So we end up with multiple plots throughout the whole year of the production. So I don't have a clear deadline when I have to clean up the spring plot, when I have to clean up the summer plot, and so on and so forth. Hey, I grab every single thing I can grow, okay? We don't sell our vegetables. We cannot. This is a federal dollar on public land. We donate all of them to local charity. So based on Willard's record, the most recent, the final total harvest is 5,511 pounds. And you look at all these varieties, I'm very proud of my vegetables. Our challenges are just like any farmer. Pests, we have some really ugly worms. And then I said, Willard, what are we gonna do with it? You know, we don't spray, we can't do anything. Willard said, we pick them. So he actually trained the interns to pick up those, what's the name of that tomato thing? The ugly
They were the
bee.
tomato hornworms.
Oh my gosh, they're humongous. We love our tomatoes, they love our tomatoes too. And I guess it's organic, so they are super big bugs. And Willard just pick it up and squish it, and that was it. I said, don't squish it, just throw it away. Willard said, they're gonna die anyway. I can't squish them. And then the interns all have to learn how to pick them up. that was something. But that's how we
We have
handle.
a question in the chat.
Yes.
What is the plot size and how many total acres are planted out of 30?
Okay, earlier, obviously, you came into the workshop a bit late. We have, I showed you the map. And so every plot is about ½ acre. We had a smaller plot this year that's 1/8 of the acre. I use 1/2 acre and then 1 acre. So Willard, if we combine everything together, it will be close to 2 acres. Am I about right? Including asparagus, blueberry, all these things combined, about 2 acres every year. Would that be
With
fair?
the blueberries, blackberries, and asparagus, it's probably closer to like 2.5, 3.
Okay, okay, because we have perennial. So I would say 3 at the most. How about that? So in 2021, at the most 3 acres. All right. Any other questions?
That's all for now.
Okay, so so here let's work on some numbers. At the most 3 acres, so really productive thing, if we harvest 5,511 pounds, let's just use 3. So each acre is a little bit, over 1,000 pounds. Willard, help me out. How much is on average, how much I harvest each acre? Take a 5511.09 divided by 3. Anybody? Anybody get that number? Take a 5511.09 divided by 3.
1837.
1837 pounds each acre. I don't know about you guys, it's pretty significant to me. And the plus, these are organic. Okay, just focus on that organic. Good price. We will work on the price in a little bit. Okay. I'm very proud of Willard because he really pushes the boundary by working with the interns who didn't really have any farming experiences. And he was able to help them to learn this. Our biggest challenge is wildlife. We use solar fencing. Pretty simple. Each set is no more than $500. with a rechargeable battery with little solar panel, very cute. And then Willard put them on T-posts with wire and all this stuff. Each set can sustain about 2 acres. But the deers jump them over, cross them through. I mean, I don't know about those deers, but nobody's really afraid of it. So we still have to deal with the wildlife in Goldsboro area.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Have you tried deer fencing?
That's what we do. That's the solar fence. We do for the deers. There's really no reason to set up fancy deer fencing because we move a plot. We don't do the same plot every year, you know, so we have to take it down and move it somewhere. Solar fencing is so much easier. But we also have a human, this human coming over, whether they're trespassing or they claim they're just taking a walk with the dog. I don't know what their reasons are. You know, that's just people. We cannot prevent them coming over. Like I said earlier, we don't have a door, we don't have a gate. It's an open field right there. All right.
And another question, do you check with local chefs and restaurants to see what specialty crops they would want?
I will talk about that later. That's in the market side. Okay.
And one last question, what are most damaging / challenging pests?
Oh, Willard, you know that from 2021. Tomato hornworm for sure.
We had what they ended up being was ladybird beetle larvae, ate through a lot of our greens in the fall. They're essentially ladybugs, but there are a couple varieties that eat the greens, and that did a lot of damage this year for us. We also had some army worms in the springtime very early when our high tunnels started to heat up that did a number on the plants. Someone asked about the asparagus as well. I don't know about the varieties that were planted, but it's about 25 feet by 200 feet, and there are 3 rows.
Yeah, we just got some really cheap asparagus. Somebody gave us a bunch. I bought a bunch, and so there's just a mix of varieties. But I've been growing asparagus since 2017, and 3 years into harvest. So they're doing very, very well. Willard mowed it down every winter after they die. They come back up every spring. So we don't do any special treatment. And I put asparagus in flooded zone. If you want to grow asparagus, they love water. If you have a flood zone or some area in your field, in your plot that's really low, that's the best place to put asparagus. They love water. They're very resistant to any pest. Willard, you have never seen anything to eat asparagus, have you? I've never seen any damage on asparagus. The deers won't even get close to it. So that's a success story. Okay, move on. Chris, if you see more questions, let me finish it. This is slide, and you go ahead, ask me, okay?
Got it.
So we look at all the scenarios lead to this one slide that we're going to talk about financial indicators. Because a lot of times farmers have to juggle a lot of numbers, but you can actually simplify them to the type of systems that I use to manage our research farm. A lot of people don't quite understand these concepts. So let me take a minute or two to explain these concepts, and I'll use carrots as an example. Average cost is the total cost divided by the production volume. Okay, say if you have 200 carrots, and you know the seeds, you know the water, you know the labor, those kind of things. So after you figure out, okay, on average, it might cost you 50 cents to grow a whole bed, which is about, you know, for us, one bed is about 3 feet by 200 feet. Okay, that's one bed. That's the average cost. Just take the total cost divided by your total harvest volume. But the marginal cost is the one that is critical to farmers. The marginal cost means to grow an additional bed how much cost you need to put in. Well, you said, Dr. Liang, you just told us about 50 cents each carrot in one bed. Well, wouldn't the second bed be the same? No. Why not? Because if you grow an additional bed, you have to have additional labor, your additional time, your additional seed. But you don't need to buy new tools. You don't need to buy new plastic if you already have some over there. You see what I'm saying? So the marginal cost relates to the additional cost in addition to what you already have to pay.
What's your objective for this class here? Like how to run a farm?
I don't know, I thought it was some specialty things, like maybe we learned, but if it's not appropriate, it's not.
Is
Oh, it's
is
interesting.
somebody talking here?
All right. We need to pass on, I'll be right back.
Could you mute yourself? We could hear your conversation. Thank you. So when you think about you want to add another plot, or you want to buy additional acres, or you want to grow one additional type of vegetable, that additional cost is the break point. Okay, so you have to document what's the additional thing you have to do to figure it out before you actually make that decision. It relates to how you use existing resource, your existing labor. Can these people grow more stuff with what they already have to do? You see what I'm saying? Or what you already have to do? Sometimes the additional cost accounts so much more, it might not worth your time to do it. Okay, so at the price level, the average price usually is compared with average cost. But think about this carefully. The average price is just the total earning, whatever income you earn, you divide by the total harvest amount that you believe you can harvest and you can sell. So on average, how much the price you can set. But the profit margin is compared with the marginal cost. In addition to what you're getting right now, how much additional cost you have to pay to grow extra carrots, and how much additional price you can earn in return, at least to cover that additional cost. And even if your price covers the cost, you just break even, you don't have profit. You see my point? So a lot of times, especially for small farmers, we grow all different kinds of things. For large single crop farms, this is very easy to figure out because they grow one thing and they grow 200-300 acres. This is not hard for them to figure out. The challenge is for small, diverse farmers. You want to switch out vegetables. You want to switch out market. Today you're in farmers market, tomorrow you're thinking about selling to grocery stores. Now those additional effort, additional time, additional resource will be the make or break point for you. So be very, very careful when you talk about the price, when you talk about the cost. My first question for you will be, are you talking about average? Or are you talking about a marginal sense, the additional input or output that you will do? Any question here, Chris?
Nope, not right now.
All right, so let's use carrots to do this exercise, all right? Now everybody got a pencil, paper ready? It's a math question, all right? Willer, you help me out too, okay? I want to demonstrate to people, if you do simple, easy, and reasonable record keeping, you can all figure this out very quickly. I do grow carrots. I grow purple carrots. I grow mixed color carrots. And the Willer, you just harvest the last bunch of carrots, right? So those carrots we grow. Say a bed is a 3 feet by 200. So draw a picture of my bed. One bed. Carrots, how far do you grow them apart? You won't put the seed like a foot away. Nobody does it that way, okay? So let's say 200 feet, you know, we can grow 3 carrots in a foot, just roughly. So 3 carrots in a foot, 200 feet. How many carrots I have, Willard? 3 carrots in a foot, 200 feet bed. How many carrots do I have totally? Assume they all germinate.
It's a single row,
Just
Okay.
one row, yeah,
600.
600. But we don't do 1 row, we do 2 rows. Am I right?
Correct.
That's 1,200 carrots, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then you still remember that story, who killed my carrots, right?
I remember.
All right, I'm not gonna show that story here, okay, but I'm still mad, all right? So 1,200 carrots in a bed, 3 feet wide, 200 feet long, 1,200 carrots. 3 carrots about a pound in the market, okay? So how many pounds do I have? 1,200 divided by 3, Willard?
400.
Yes. 400 pounds carrots, organic, certified organic. 1 pound carrot organic in the market about $2-3. Am I right? Average price, okay. That's $1,200. Just 1 bed of carrots, organic, certified organic carrots. Think about the potential. For me, I have half acre. Half acre, Willard put about 15 beds, 14 beds, am I right?
That's correct.
Each bed is $1,200. How much can I earn half acre if I all grow carrots? You see my point? Willard, the 1,200 multiplied by 14, quick.
15 is 1,800. 18,000, sorry. You said-
18,000, yeah, 15 beds will be 18,000. Half an acre, certified organic carrots. Take care of them, they will take care of you. You understand now? Now you say, hey, Doc, why don't I just grow carrots? So why you can't do that? Because there's a season, okay? And you want to change your mix. You want to maintain the soil nutrition. We do not promote people to only grow 1 crop at a time. You got to diversify. All right. Any question in there, Chris?
Nothing right now.
I think everybody passed out by this time. I hope everybody's still doing well. This is you have to do the math to see the potential. You say, Dr. Liang, that's like crazy. That much money for carrots? Yes, and that's just the carrots. You know, most of the vegetables I grow in Goldsboro are really expensive in grocery store. I took Willard. I don't know if I took a Millard to any Asian grocery store, but I took a Willard, right? Willard, I took you to Asian grocery store. I showed you those produce in the vegetable aisle. Willard said, whoa, $5, $6, $8 a pound. You know, that's the organic price could be really, really good. Now, other key financial indicators, when you do a good job, keep your records, we have the following things. We have total assets versus depreciation. Are you buying new tools or using secondhand tools, or you rent? If you're not sure you want to be a full-time farmer, go rent some equipment or do a co-op. Cooperative extension has some tools that we loan it out to farmers. Plastic mulch layer, I believe we bought some. And just check with your extension agents. And you know, you buy new ones, well, looks good, shiny, pretty, but they work on the farm. I mean, why do you need to keep them shiny and pretty? And then plus the new machines and new tools depreciate much faster. Okay, so if it's not necessary, get some good solid secondhand or loan some equipment will be a good approach to avoid the depreciation cost. Do you have current debt versus long-term debt that includes your student loan, your home loan, your car loans, you know, all these other stuff? You have to think about the payment, the principal payment and the interest payment. They show two different things. Labor cost, we've been talking about this all the way through. Labor is expensive. You want to hire good people, you got to pay the price. And then finally, are you taking in any other incomes from government payment? We have to factor that into consideration. Do you have other jobs? Many farmers have other jobs, working in the winter as a carpenter, as an electrician. That's okay. But they think about your trade-off. You know, if you want to be a full-time farmer, you will have to sacrifice something has to give. That's all I'm going to say. Something has to give. All right. It's hard to be a full-time farmer and then full-time something else. That's just a very, very challenging. Any questions so far?
Nothing else right now.
Okay, thank you. Now let's talk about market. What was the question back in the market side, Chris? I said I will talk about it. Could you go back to the chat box and find that market question for me? Well, you look, I will talk, all right? So
I think it was do you check with local chefs and restaurants to see what specialty crops they would want?
yes, I do. That's a simple question. And because I actually work with these people, I go to specialty grocery stores every weekend religiously. I travel around the state a lot. I've been to all counties in North Carolina. We have 100 counties and plus a Cherokee reservation. And I go every place to talk to people. I love good food. I am a good cook. And I talk to the chefs and ask them, so where do you buy your ingredients from? I said, would you be interested in buying local ingredients if they're available? And what kind? So that's what we focus on when we grow these specialty vegetables. The varieties match with local demand with the chefs, okay? And then we work with other farmers and partners who actually have connections to sell these ethnic produce. There are a couple of farmers went through our training programs and are able to start a kind of a co-op or kind of a networking capacity to help each other to grow more varieties, increase the volume, so they can sell it to wholesale. Miller is a great example. I don't mean to call on you, Miller, but if you want to say a few things about just a simple how you guys get into the wholesale and that sort of thing, would that be okay? You don't have to say anything.
I answer the question. Now you have that, there's different events happen all over the state, what are called grower buyers. And I go to 1 or 2 of them a year, you know, so like, when you go there, they ask you, you ask them, like that question was, do you want specific things? And most of them do have great need for specialty crops like multicolored carrots, multicolored radishes, beets. Nobody can't get enough of beets right now. And Weaver Street, you know, like I say, the Asian markets wants all these pack choys, bok choys, hop choys, all these different choys and everything. So there's a good market out there right now.
Yeah, the Center for Environmental Farming System offers a grower-buyer matchup program. And we will start doing that matchup program very soon. So I'm in the process of organizing it. So just keep in tune and keep in touch with us. Once you get the information, just sign up. There's no charge. Everything we do, if we can cover the cost, we will. Sometimes we charge a little bit for on-farm demonstration because that takes more time, more preparation, our staff. Well, I got to pay these people. See, somebody said I don't pay people very well. I got Chris and Mary, Elizabeth, and the Willer all sitting here, So I'm just like you, I got to cover these folks. So we charge a little bit of fee for on-farm demonstration for a longer time period, but most of the workshop we do is free. So just keep in touch with us, all right? And visit ethnic markets often. Talk to your local restaurant. There are Thai food, Vietnamese food, Chinese. You all eat takeout Chinese, right? Well, I would be surprised if here in this workshop, somebody had never had a Chinese food before. So all these restaurants have to buy the ingredients from somebody. Just count the restaurants in your neighborhood, in your community. If we can boost up the volume to provide the ingredients, they will be super happy because now they're paying an arm and a leg in the distribution transportation cost. That's very expensive. What would be a better deal to buy from our farmers in the neighborhood? So that's really good. But you got to build a relationship. I do have the language advantage. I speak Mandarin and some other languages. So when I go in there, I talk to their native tongue, and people just become more affiliated with me. But I'll be happy to bring you there too. I did. Before COVID, we actually organized the restaurant visit and a grocery store visit with the farmers. I will be more than happy to do that once we get out of this COVID thing. But you don't need to rely on me. You all can go. You all can talk to these people. One thing is really important for everybody to keep in mind is when you go visit, make sure you take a picture or write down the market price you see. That's the benchmark. That's the expected price. You definitely can earn once we can match the volume, the requirements and that sort of thing. And grow something for these markets. If you see something is really popular, daikon radish is super popular in the wintertime. We cannot get enough of daikon radish. Beets, Willer said everybody loves beets, and they're different color of beets. I grow black beets this year. Willer said that by the time we finish harvesting all the black beets, Willer, we all passed out, right? We harvest the beets for day and night for a long, long time. They just kept growing, and they're very, very popular. Well, try something different, something new, something fun. Bitter melon is another one. I'm promoting bitter melon production in North Carolina. We grow a lot, and it's been so popular. This year, we are going to expand our production scale. So that's a lot of restaurants and the market people approach me, said, Dr. we need a more bitter melon in the market. I said, okay, I will try. I'll help people to grow more. So that's all, it's possible. We do that, And then finally, just get in touch with other large buyers like a senior homes, childcare service, vacation units. Everybody have to eat. The vacation homeowners love great food, and they're the one with a bit higher income to pay certified organic produce. So just keep your mind open, keep your eyes open, what's going on. Food is our foundation for health. And being a farmer, it's really the best job in my perspective. I love it. I do that all the time. Any questions so far? I got maybe a bunch of questions down there.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second here. Can you share the matchup program link?
The matchup program description is actually available on our website. you go to the website Center for Environmental Farming Systems. And then click on, let's see, what's the name of Chris and then Mary? I need one of you to go to the CEFS website. And the program is under management by Robin Stout. I think it's under NC 10% campaign. If you click on NC 10%, you see the grower match-up program, grower buyer match-up program. Do you see it?
Not yet.
It
Willard?
is under NC 10% campaign, and it's
Yeah.
about halfway down.
Yeah, NC 10%. And then you will see the grower buyer matchup program right there on that list. But we will organize that event throughout this year, and then we will send out announcement through your email contact, because once you register with this workshop, we have your contact information. So I will send that information out to everybody. Okay. Any
Dr.
other
Lang,
questions?
Dr.
Yeah.
Lang, that 10% program requires that you be Harm to Gap certified, because all that food's going to institutions, like you say, to different universities, hospitals, anything that's dealing with children's got to be Harm to Gap certified. So that's the only change about that program. The restaurants, all they do is like you're doing. It is for sustainable, raised organic food. They don't worry about Harm to Gap and all that other stuff. So it's according to who you're dealing with.
Thank you, Miller.
I've got another question. Let's see, do you make agreements with buyers ahead of a harvest? And what if the crop fails?
I cannot answer that question at this point. Robin will know more about that agreement. And then you can go on to the website, find Robin's contact information. And then I can also ask that question for you.
I can answer it.
Sure.
Because I'm part of that program. Only agreement, there's some organizations require commitments. If you want committed on a price, you got to commit back that you'll have that production. I only do 1 or 2 items as a commitment. I'd rather do as availability. You say, well, I'm gonna try to produce 5 bushels a week or 5 cases of this, and that ain't, they still got other outlets, but you don't get the premium price. Now, my things that I commit on, you better have that stuff. Like we say we're gonna do 15 cases of Sun Gold mixed cherry tomatoes. I gotta have 15 cases a week. So I plant and cultivate like I'm doing 30 cases just to get them 15 cases.
So what if the crop failed? You cannot deliver, Miller. What do you do?
So that was like 4 years ago. They let me out of the agreement, but that ain't good. You're hurting yourself to ever try to get back in there with them again. That's the only thing about that. It's like some year Weaver Street and Elon University, some that is plans out these minions for weeks at a time. And this organization, Compass Group, that's coming out of Charlotte, you cater all these events, 300 and 400 different events a year. So all them organizations are planning meals out. I already know what I'm gonna do in March, and I already know what I'm gonna do in May, June, July. These events, and each organization, when they go to plan, they give you enough of time. They know that you need the time. Like, tomatoes is a 120-day crop. We already talked about everything up to August now and September.
Right. That's good advice. I mean, and sometimes different institution has different requirement or agreement flexibility. That's negotiable. So that's really up to who you're selling to. Any other question, Chris?
Other than the matchup, any advice on how to speak with the decision makers at these restaurants and groceries? They're often very busy and packed with people when I go.
Yeah, that's why we have to have the connection. And going through the connection that we know, we usually contact the manager or the owner of the grocery store or the purchase. Sometimes they have a purchase procurement director, sort of, who is in charge of buying stuff. That's probably the best way to go. And then the chefs, they are not busy. You need to know when they're not busy. Let me put it this way. You know where I go to meet chefs? Raleigh Farmers Market? Raleigh Farmers Market, very often in the early morning, especially Saturday morning when the wholesale market opens, a lot of chefs are there. So I just ask questions, and the people told me that, okay, that's usually the chefs will culinary schools. They bring the sous chefs, the trainees over there, all in the very, very early morning. And that's where, I ended up meeting a lot of these folks there. I brought Miller there one time. Remember, Miller, you were looking for purple sweet potato seeds?
Yes, we got them. Yes.
I brought him early morning to the Raleigh Farmer Market. Miller said, what am I looking at? I said, look at the sign on the wall. Their contact information, everything there. And so, yeah, that you just have to ask questions and to figure out. And then extension agent might know, but some it's really just communication. Keep asking questions and people will talk with you. The restaurants are not too busy in the middle of the afternoon if they open, and you go there to buy fried rice and just sit down and say, oh, wow, your fried rice is so good. Where did you get the ingredients? And they will sit down to talk with you. You will be amazed how much they want to talk about their food. That's how I get information. I go in there to eat, make friends, and they will tell me. All right. There's really no rule, no textbook to teach you how to do this. It's all about building relationship. Any other question here, Chris?
What are your transportation and delivery costs?
We don't do transportation delivery because we don't sell anything. We donate everything, and we donate to the local charity. So that's just a mile down the road. Yeah, we cannot sell anything. We're not doing this for profit.
And one more question.
Yeah.
How do you become certified to grow organic, non-GAP special vegetables in North Carolina?
We are certified organic for sure, but we cannot do GAP certified. And I'll tell you why. Because we use our site to train people what need to do to be GAP certified. Therefore, we purposely kept our shed, our washing station, everything the way it is. So when people come to do the GAP training, they know, oh, so this is no good. Also, this has to be improved, you see. If we become GAP certified, then we got to duplicate a whole model to compare what it should not be. That's too much work for us. So we are not GAP certified. And there's no reason for us to become GAP certified because we cannot sell. So we just donate. Thanks for that question. A lot of people ask me that question. They say, why don't you just get GAP certified? I said, no, I cannot.
Dr. Liang, I want to point out that that organic, if you're just looking to go organic, you can go to NRCS and they got a cost sharing program. Help you do your plan and everything. Yeah, because feasible plan, your transition plan, organic transition plan is the title of it, but it's a equip program they got, and they pay up to $2,500 for the plan. So you got to have that. And then once you get your plan done, then you got to start your implementing your stuff. So it's a 3-year transition for most farmers since their land's been in cultivation.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miller. This year, I'm gonna start offering training, collaborating with the NRCS. So more information will come to help people to understand all the details, the ins and outs, to work with NRCS. They have a huge environmental quality indicator kind of a program, and they provide cost share, just like Miller said. So just stay tuned, more to come. Thank you, Miller. Thank you so much. Any other questions so far, Chris?
That's all for now.
All right. We're getting to the close of the conversation here. Something I just want to share with you about farmers market, or you want to sell your farm stand, anything with direct contact with customers, especially with COVID. A lot of folks from your community will knock on your door, say, hey, I want to pick up some tomatoes you grow. Do you have lettuce and pak choy and all these things, that radish and kohlrabi? You know, I don't know if you know what kohlrabi is. Kohlrabi is super good. We grow kohlrabi. So whatever you do with a direct contact, make sure you have all these things in place. A sign required, a nice display. Make sure you mark your price and varieties clearly. But also it's important to include a instruction about how to cook it. A lot of people are curious about new vegetables, but they throw them away just because they don't know how to use it. And that's diminishing the value, okay? So please include the cooking, preparation, caring package, instruction there for people to learn how to use it. Working with people are not easy. So just please be patient, have a good interactive communication. Like I said, go there to buy food and ask them, whoa, this is super good. I've never had this before. Where did this come from? Strike a conversation, get more information. And then tell your story as a farmer. Believe or not, a lot of people buy the story. They will choose your story versus other type of a large chain grocery store produce. Our farmers have a fantastic legacy. Please always share your stories. Whatever you want to do, whoever you want to sell to, your story is number one. All right. But all in all, we start with a clear record keeping system. Okay.